Hey, and welcome back to our video series on building your first application with the Bridge framework. In part 3, we'll walk through how to create all the forms and reports needed to power our application. Let's begin. Now that we have all 3 tables created, let's move on to data pages. Data pages are user interfaces of your application, such as web forms, reports, charts, calendars, etc. And to build a data page, you simply have to click on the button up here to create one. And this launches Caspio's point-and-click data page wizard. And these are all the different types of interfaces that you can create. Everything from input forms, reports, calendars, charts, and even HTML data pages if you're a bit more tech savvy. For our use case, we need to build a form that allows us to add contacts. So we're going to select the submission form, click Next, choose the table that we created, which is the contacts table. That's where all of our contact information is going to reside. You can give it a name. Let's call this Create a Contact. This is for internal eyes only. You can also choose a different styles. Styles are all about the aesthetics, the look and feel of your forms and reports. Caspio gives you some preloaded styles, but you can also choose and customize your own style by going to the styles object. Let's go with the blue style. Localization is all about regional settings. So if you wanted to translate the language of your form or maybe the date format or currency, you can choose a different localization from here. We will stick with English. And for now, we'll click Next. Now you need to pick what fields you would like to include in your web form. I will choose all of my fields so that we can input name, email, phone, also set the status, file update if needed, and also add some internal notes as we add the contact. Let's click Next. And now when you get to the screen where it says configure its properties, you can choose each field on the left-hand side, and you can make modifications using the options on the right-hand side. So for example, for the name field, we can leave that as a text field, but perhaps you want to make that field required. Your email field, maybe you want to make that field required as well. Just go down the list of all of your fields. Here we have our status field. We're going to make that field required as well. But if you recall, we have a table that contains our status options. So what we can do here is we can choose this to be a dropdown. I will select both custom values and lookup table because for custom values, I would like to add perhaps select status. Delete the value. You don't want this to be stored in your table. And then for the lookup table, just pick the table that contains your 2 status options or however many you added. If you want to sort by how you have it in your table, you can just choose none. That will be the order of the statuses that you will see. We have a follow-up date. Maybe we want to make that field required, where we choose when to follow up with this contact. And finally, we have notes. And for notes, why don't we make that a text area? Because it's easier to see long text as you type inside a text area versus a text field. Those are all the changes I really want to make. If you want to see what the form looks like at any point before you actually save your changes, you can click Preview. And this shows you what the form looks like. We have our 2 required fields at the very top. We can see our status options. We can set the follow-up date. And we can add some internal notes and click Submit. I'm happy with that. I will return back to Caspio and click Finish to save. And just like that, we have built our very first data page, and this one is going to be an input form that allows anyone to submit contact information into our contacts table. Now let's build a report that allows us to output the data from the contacts table. So again, click on Create Data Page, and this time instead of building a submission form, we want to build a report. And you have a couple of different options here that you can select from. Why don't we go with a tabular option that gives us the ability to search, see the results in a tabular format, and be able to drill into details. Let's click Next. Select the same contacts table. Let's give it a name, maybe Manage Contacts. I will once again choose the same style to keep things uniform, English localization, and click Next. Now it's asking me, do you need to have a search form or a predefined criteria? Let's build a search form. Let's have the results appear underneath the search form, and let's display the results on the initial load. And click Next. What fields do you wish to use in the search form? Let's search by name and email just to keep things simple, but you can include other fields if you'd like. When it comes to configuring properties of each one of our two search fields, for name, why don't we go with contains? And for email, we'll also choose contains. So it's more like a keyword search. If you type in letter A for name, it's going to return all the names that contain letter A. Let's click next. What fields do you wish to use in the results page? So let's display name, email, phone, maybe city, state, and zip, status, follow-up date, and date created. The remaining fields we can choose to include in the details view. Click next. Do you want the ability to edit the data? For now, let's keep everything as read-only, but in the next video, when we talk about authentication, we'll come back to this report and I'll show you how to check some of these boxes so you can allow users to edit. The reason why I don't want to do that now is because I haven't authenticated my data page yet, so if you click on this button, you might get this warning message to let you know, hey, this is still a public-facing data page. Make sure to authenticate it before you enable editing options. So we're going to hit cancel and simply just proceed to the next step. Do I need to make any configurations to my results page? No, we can just leave things as is and continue. Let's display 25 contacts per page. You can also sort data, maybe based on date created, so that you can see the most recent contact added first. Let's click next. Do you want to enable a details page? Yes, let's go to enable a details page, and I'd like the name field to take me into the details view. Let's click next. And let's go ahead and include all of the fields in the details page. And in the details page, now you can make these fields modifiable or editable if you'd like. You can see by default it's display only, in other words, read only. So for example, for the name field, you could make that a text field, email text field. Depending on which fields you want to be able to edit, just go down a list of all of your fields, make the changes, and you will see how in the finished application, all of these fields are going to be editable. For my status field, remember, we can turn this into a dropdown and choose the lookup table that contains our two status options. For the follow-up date, text field, notes, text area, and date created will be read only. There's no reason to make changes there, but we can maybe move that field at the very top so that we can see when that contact was created. You can also preview if you'd like, but we don't have any data yet. It's an empty table. In the next video, I will show you how we can add some sample data using that form and be able to view that data inside the report. I will click Finish. And just like that, we have built the main components of our application, which is the ability to input a contact and be able to output and retrieve that information using a report. And we built that very, very quickly. This concludes part 3 of the video series. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one where we talk about authentication and how to password protect both the form and the report so only users with the permissions can log in, be able to input data and output data as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.